would be Peter Chege from Kenya, the CEO of Hydroponics Kenya. So you started the business in 2002. You started more by providing fertilizers and soil analysis to the farmers. And then progressively you moved by providing hydroponic systems to farmers' communities in Kenya. So you will share that experience with us now. And thank you very much as well for coming from Kenya to share that experience. Peter, I would like to remind you as well that we have our interpreters. Thank you very much for your work already until 1. So after 1, we will not have interpretation. So it will be great if we finish on time. Thank you, Peter, please.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. As you have heard, my name is Peter Chege from Kenya. I'm a CEO of Hydroponics Kenya. And I'll start with a short video, then I'll continue. My name is Peter Chege, and I'm CEO of Hydroponics Africa Limited. We are promoting a project called Vertical Hydroponics for Household. This project has been funded by USAID through a program called Securing Water for Food. This system uses 30 liters of water per day. It only uses a space of 20 meters square, and it has 720 crops. It can be able to feed 4 to 5 members of the family, and also farmers able to sell the produce so that they can be able to repay the system. The cost of this system is only 20,400, and farmers don't have to pay 100%. They just need to pay 20 to 50%, and the rest they pay as they start harvesting. With our farmers whom we are going to impact in Eastern Kenya, we expect even to get more farmers so that at least we can ensure food security in Africa. So far, we have been able to install 10,000 meters square of vertical hydroponics in both the rural and urban dwelling. And the following slides are on our systems which we have developed. As you can see, we started this pilot in Nairobi, Kenya, whereby we were supposed to impact 200 women in Nairobi, middle of the city, with several hydroponic systems. The ones you can see in the background is, we call it hydro wall. It is mounted on walls of the building. So we also call it gardening without a garden, because if you are in a slum, women, they just have their house. One side of the house can be used to grow the vegetables for the household consumption, and the other sides they can also use for selling the vegetables. The system, we just need to open the tap, and the water finds its way to all the crops, and then goes to the reservoir, which can also be recycled. We also did several pilots on urban schools in Nairobi. Like now, this one is Moi Avenue in the middle of the city, whereby the students were able to learn. The primary school student, we did a pilot with them, and we realized that children are also eager to know how crops grow. And you know now, many people have migrated to urban, and it really becomes very hard for them if they don't know where the crops come from, and it's a good learning for them. That's a vertical system that we offer. It is usually 2 meters high, and we also think of whether now we can go even about 15 meters, whereby now we can have artificial lighting. And this one will ensure that cities feed themselves, because if you can go 8 meters square, you go 15 meters high, then you are sure of that you are going to feed many people. In Africa, the best thing in Africa is we have lighting is very huge. So in our 2-meter height, we don't require artificial light. So it's easy for us to develop vertical hydroponics in Africa than maybe in European countries because of lack of light. We still are the schools learning in the Moi Avenue primary, and this system we try to semi-automate it because it has a pump which is 0.5 horsepower pump, and it's timed. So it waters the crops at a predetermined intervals. So even the students, they still continue learning, and then they come and watch their crops. They just need to make sure that the reserve of the nutrients, the water is there, so that the pump can function well. As I have said, we've impacted 200 women in Nairobi. Those women at 18 meters square, which is able to feed 5 to 6 members of the family, and they are able to sell so that they can sell the excess so that they can be able to repay the unit. Because initially what we did, the pilot, we are testing whether if we give at a credit model, whether the women will be able to repay the cost of the hydroponic system, which is 18 meters square. And we learned that they are able to be within 8 months, they are able to pay the cost of the system, and then the rest of the months then they can use for the income. And as you can see, we are using those pipes, and the lifespan is about 10 years. So imagine now they will be able to be growing the crops within that period. This system, we call it set it, forget it, because it's also semi-automated. It has a timer, so it waters the crops, and the water goes back to the reservoir, then it can be recycled. So if that system uses 80% less water, it uses very minimal labor, and it can also be on rooftop. It can fit anywhere. You actually say that even one pipe to feed one person, we've done a research that if you are using the spinach, you need just 15 spinach. So imagine how many spinach can be fed by this small system, which uses less labor and also less water and less space as well. That's why I've said that in 18 meters square, per meter square, we are able to multiply 6 times if you go vertically in only 2 meters high. So if you go higher than that, then you can imagine how it's possible to feed the cities. That one is the one I started with. That is called hydro wall, which can be mounted on the frustrated buildings or factories. I had one of our panelists say that. It can be mounted on fences. It can be on houses of dwelling. We call that system A-shaped. It's A-shaped like this so that at least light can be enough, so that at least we don't use artificial light, because you know in Africa also light is an issue. Electricity is very expensive, so we need to develop systems which is cost effective, and hopefully maybe somebody with the innovation of maybe solar, automating this hydroponic system with solar in Africa would be very much feasible. That's what I started with. Is fodder for feeding livestock. It takes only 7 days, as opposed to 12 weeks if you do conventionally. And then it's also grown vertically, and it has a water and the nutrients recirculate the system. So in a very small space, we also be able to grow fodder for all livestock, and very economical, and as well as use less water. So far, there's some lessons we've learned since we started, and I have about 5 lessons. The first one is integrated approach to implementation of activities at household at the community levels, as well as awareness and advocacy, increases impact of intervention. The other lesson is working with the Ministry of Youth, county government, and Ministry of Education was also useful to target awareness activities such as sport song and the drama performance, so that at least we can bring in youth in this industry of farming. There is need of training while introduce farmers in urban. As you know, farmers, most people in urban, they don't know how to farm, and you have to train them. It's also been a new technology. We faced a lot of challenges here, because people used to say now the fodder growing within 7 days, crops growing 30% faster. And then you are not using soil. Then people in Africa would say this is GMO, and So we had to train them and make sure that they know this. We are trying to grow perfect crops because we believe in hydroponics you are able to almost achieve a perfect crop. The other lesson is automation and app application of hydroponic system in Africa will encourage youth to participate, ensure management efficiency, and manage credit model. Because we have realized that unless now these youth that they are given some loan by microfinance so that they can be able to buy the hydroponic system, it will be very hard for them to adapt. And in Africa, banks are shy to give loans to farmers because of unpredictable prices of the fresh produce. So if you have an app application whereby now the system is automated and also it has an app, and if a farmer is given this system, he is reminded that he is supposed to pay, and to some extent if he is unable to pay, then you can switch off the automation, and that one reminds him now you have to do that. Because we really had a problem when we started with the credit model. So the default rate was high, and we understood this because of the lack of fresh market. And also now with this app development, it's also going to link the farmers or the youth to the fresh produce, so that the supermarkets and everything, so that at least they will be able to know now this is the price of this fresh produce and this how much it's selling, so that they know where to take their produce. They also need, and this has been a big challenge because people would call me and ask me, now, is hydroponics organic? And to me, I think it is need to certify hydroponics as organic, because right now, as we are using organic hydroponics nutrients, and because we are not using soil, then there's no soil-borne diseases like nematodes, bacteria root. So to me, it's more a perfect crop if you are using organic hydroponics nutrients. So there's need to certify hydroponics as organic, so that at least it can be adapted. Because we've all realized that hydroponics and aeroponics is the solution to urban agriculture because of lack of space. So thank you very much. And
thank you.